Am I live now? Is it live? Hi, hello everyone. Not sure if you can hear me. Can you please confirm if the audio, video, everything seems okay? Am I using this one as well? All right. Hello. Hi. Good morning. Good afternoon. I hope everyone is doing all right. We're starting a new series. This is an AMA session where I'll be answering candidate queries, and I would be doing this on every Saturday around the same time, most of the Saturdays in a year. So this is the first of those sessions. Sure. All right. Okay. Should we start the session? We've already collated some questions. Here's my plan is first around 4 to 5 questions that we collected from Instagram and from other sources. I'll be answering those questions, and then I will be answering questions which are coming on the live chat. All right. So with this background, let us start. Here's question number 1, which is being asked by Rucha. Rucha is saying, how did you manage to focus for both CFA and CA at the same time? Did your passion for finance help you, or what was your motivation behind completing those two together? I'm losing motivation mid-studying. Do you feel it's because of some other reason? Not everyone can become CFA charter holder. Okay. Now, see, when I was doing this, when I was studying for both CA and CFA, it didn't feel like a very tough thing to do. Now, in the hindsight, when I look at things, it obviously looks like a relatively challenging task. And I say this to all the candidates that, motivation as a concept is overrated, because imagine if you need to watch some YouTube videos or you need to listen to people to get motivated. It's going to last for a few days and then it's going to disappear, right? So what works is discipline. Luckily, that's what worked for me. So I used to have a very fixed schedule. For example, early morning before I would leave for my CA articleship, I used to spend some time studying and then go to office. Office, I typically used to carry some practice questions, mostly CFA. Or office होने के बाद in the evening I used to spend some more time studying at that. That's what basically worked. So Rucha, don't focus too much on motivation. It's a very short-term thing. Focus on build a very tight schedule and then force yourself to stick to it. I remember one of the things I used to do is, कभी-कभी ऐसे दिन आता है ना, there are days when you feel like I don't want to study. Right? There are days when you feel like I'm not motivated enough, or for whatever reason, bored, or I'm not enjoying it. What I used to do is still go to a library and go and then, maybe listen to music there or read some random book, but I'll force myself to follow that protocol, right? Going to library and putting in time, that worked. Next question, V. Krishnamurthy. He's asking how to start your own hedge fund and grow big. Okay, that's interesting. See, in India, Krishnamurthy, hedge funds typically are classified as AIFs. Right now, you can start. I spoke to someone recently. This gentleman was running a hedge fund, and I asked him the same question. He somehow managed to raise 100 crores. And I asked him the same thing as like, how did you start this? And his answer was very simple. You need to have a combination of two things, right? First, you need to have a differentiated product. For example, if you're running same run-on-the-mill skill, you're saying, I will do a value equity or a growth equity. There are already too many products in the market doing that. So you need to have a differentiated product, which means you need to have the experience to go through that level of understanding, like designing the product. And second, you need to have network to be able to raise money. In India, for first-time fund manager, it's difficult because your traditional distributors like IIFL, Edelweiss, वो आपको इतना help नहीं करेंगे. So it will become a little difficult to raise money. So you have to have your own network where you can raise, your first 100, 150 crores. Then it becomes relatively easier. And once your first product is successful, you can always do the second product and third product and so on. All right, next question, Shivani. Shivani is asking, what are the skills required to get an entry-level job in equity research? So Shivani, I'm assuming you've done some part of the CFA. That generally helps, though it's not a necessary condition. It's not necessary that you have to be CFA, but CFA will help. Very essential skill from an equity research perspective is financial modeling, right? Because if you're on the sales side, that's pretty much what you're doing day out and day in basis. So financial modeling, you have to be top notch. सबसे important skill है stock picking में, in order your ability to read businesses. Okay, like how do you understand a business situation or a business environment? If the promoter gives you let's say a 30% growth guidance, क्या आप उस पे भरोसा कर सकते हैं? Can you trust the promoter? These type of things, and that only comes with experience. So a very good starting point is to read a lot of earning transcripts. Now these earning transcripts, typically it's the analyst community which is asking questions to the management. So then you understand how are these guys thinking? Why did he or she ask this particular question? So read earning transcripts, read company presentations, and learn financial modeling. That would be a good starting point. Okay, next question, Meet Gauri. Hello Utkarsh sir, a big fan. My question is that I'm confused in which finance domain I want to work. How to figure out what do I like, which domain in finance would provide the biggest packages? ये थोड़ा tough है Meet. How to figure out what domain to work in? A lot of times you look at typical career path of a lot of finance professional. Their first few jobs were a function of chance rather than conscious decision. Like किसी को मिल गया, then they kind of built upon that career. If you want to figure out what would you like, the smart thing to do is to try out a few internships, right? So maybe see if you can get yourself an internship in front office IB, maybe a boutique IB if not a global IB firm. So start with internships, work at a few places. That will give you a good sense of what would you like. Which one will have biggest packages? That's a good question. In general, I think private wealth has been doing quite good. The steepness of the salary curve is higher, which means salary काफी fast बढ़ सकता है if you are skilled in that domain. So I like private wealth as a domain. In general, asset management business is attractive. It opens up opportunity to set up on your own quickly, like with 7 to 8 years of experience. And once you start on your own, you can make a lot more money. So I like asset management as a space. Within asset management, you can try a variety of different things. Like in India, traditionally we've had a mutual fund, PMS, and AIF3 structure, right? If you looked at the new SEBI minutes of that meeting, they're also thinking of introducing a mid-variant between PMS and mutual fund. I think with a ticket size of about 10 lakhs. In that, I think they're going to allow derivatives. I think from a business perspective, that's a fantastic opportunity. So keep an eye on that place. All right. Next question is Aditya. I have my level 1 in August 24. I'm in a very difficult situation with mock exam scoring 50 to 55 for last 5 mocks. Despite trying various methods, revising multiple times through crash course, after analyzing my errors, I found that they're mostly conceptual. I often go blank during question and face many other issues. There are multiple thoughts regarding deferring the exam. Is this a critical scenario? What should be my call of action? This is for the August candidate. That means we have exam in about 20-25 days. So Aditya, Dekho, I know you personally. You've been a topper in the weekly test throughout the season. I think you're well prepared. See, scoring less in weekly test, in the FinTree mock exam is going to happen to most of you because our level of mocks in terms of level of difficulty are higher. The FinTree mocks difficult hai. So therefore your scores will automatically be lesser. I think if you're scoring a ballpark 55 to 60, it's not bad. 55 to 60% score on the FinTree mocks, both for level 1 and level 2 is a decent score to work with. And it's okay if you have conceptual weaknesses in certain parts. The strategy is practice a lot of questions, right? Keep on practicing questions, as many as you can. And every time you make a mistake, let's say you discovered some new concept and you figure out that ये मेरे को नहीं आ रहा है अच्छे से, I'm not comfortable with this. Learn that and then practice more questions. And again make mistakes, again fix your error. That's the cycle. Okay, so you're on the right path. I would not recommend you to defer. According to the statistics published by CFA Institute, candidates who defer, their passing percentage are lower compared to candidates who appear for the first time. So defer mat kijiye, just keep on studying. I think you're on the right path. Mehak Soni, after clearing level 1, what are the possible career opportunities? Is it enough to start earning at an initial level? I think so. In general, I think what we've seen working with a lot of candidates, it is possible to get a job after level 1. I'm talking about Indian markets, metros. These are not high paying jobs. We've seen a level 1 cleared candidate who's a fresher, 3 लाख से लेके 5 लाख की रेंज में आपको जॉब्स मिल रही है. So you kind of assume on the lower spectrum. A lot of these jobs are entry level jobs like a junior analyst. Maybe you can work in some private wealth boutique, you can work in investment banking boutique firm, but you can start your careers after passing level 1 provided you're a graduate. Okay, next question. I'm left with 2 more on my list and then I will take questions on the live YouTube, whatever questions you're posting. Panchmala Sai. Hi, I'm Panchela Sai. I'm working for a private bank from last 1.5 years. I'm trying to appear for level 1 but not able to complete the syllabus. Few days I will be busy due to work, few days I will be lazy. Very nice. I have paid exam fee. I didn't appear for exam due to lack of confidence as only 30% syllabus is completed. I don't know where I'm getting stuck. Please provide a solution. Help me in completing the syllabus so I can give my level 1 and clear. Can I register for May 25? ठीक है, इसमें 2-3 चीज़ें हैं. First, if you work in a bank, see, working in a bank is generally the most time-consuming and stressful job within finance space, because if you're in a bank and especially if you're on the retail side of the things, so every morning you attend that 9 o'clock meeting, right? They have this typical drill 8:30 or 9 o'clock meeting. काफी बार उसमें गाली गलौच होती है. There is a lot of pressure being put on the team to sell insurance and whatnot, and this is across banks, not one particular bank. In fact, there are some viral videos on this as well on YouTube. I think Axis or HDFC, one of the banks. So it's a little difficult. Solution is this, Penchila. First is, if you're struggling to find motivation, for all of you, this is a question I ask myself all the time. What matters to me 10 years from now? Right? 10 साल के बाद क्या, what will matter? Like CFA charter on my wall or that additional 2 hours of sleep? Right? This is a constant question that one needs to ask themselves before you decide your time allocation. A very smart thing to do is to create, like, don't rely on motivation, create a disciplined structure कि हर घंटे, हर दिन morning में 2 घंटे पढ़ना है. Like every weekday I have to put in 2 hours a day in the morning before I go to office, not after. So you put in your studies, get done with it, go to office, get on with your life. And if you're starting now, my recommendation is instead of May, you'd be better off looking at either August or November. I will be more comfortable with November. Little extra time at level 1 always helps. Alright, Sanat. Sanat पूछ रहा है, hi team FinTree, I'm appearing for level 1 on August. How should I plan how should my plan be considering 25 days in hand? How many of you are August CFA exam candidate? Can you give me a me on the chat box here? How many August 2024 candidates here? Can you give me a me on the chat box? Okay, I can see Devansh on the chat box. Soham says level 2. Priyanshu is there. Anand Tiwari with only 60% prep. Shivanshu, Naman, Varun. Alright, understood. So we have a lot of you writing in August. I have one simple trick for you. For the August exam, we have about, kitne din baki hai abhi? We have 23, 25 days. The only thing you should be doing from now till your exam is questions practice. Nothing else. Or kuch bhi mat karo. Do not spend or waste your time doing anything else. Even if there are 2 or 3 chapters left that you haven't prepared, practice questions on them and learn through questions. So mocks, I recommend writing at least 6 to 7 mocks. For each of the levels, FinTree has about 6 to 7 mocks. Level 1 we have 7, level 2, level 3 we have 6. 2 mocks you get from CFA Institute, that gives you about 8 to 9. That's a good enough practice. So mocks plus candidate resources, questions, nothing else. Just keep on practicing questions, automatically your confidence will improve. Okay, are we done? Yeah, we're done with these questions. Let me take some on the chat box now. Yeah, you can read out the questions.
Okay. So this question is from Yash. He's asking, I wanted to know that how you can work upon building a network community and how important is that in the recent time to do that?
How do you work on building a network?
Yeah, in investor community.
Yeah, so see, networks help. Networks, 100% networks help. In generally, you've heard this cliche thing, right? In finance, we say that your network is your net worth. And trust me, it makes a lot of difference. A lot of times, if I'm trying to research a particular space, let's say there is some stock I want to work on, and I know some investor in my network who's already purchased that, I can just call them, get access to their research, their insights, and saves me, a week worth of work. So network generally helps. How to do that? A good starting point, start with attending these CFA Institute conferences. There is one happening now, I think on 8th or 9th of August. It's called the Wealth Management Conference. It's a flagship conference, CFA ke. A lot of these CFA people come. So you can start with attending some of these conferences. You can also reach out to investors, by the way. I've seen that. If you find some investor and you feel you're inspired with their investing style, you can write them email, get in touch on LinkedIn, Twitter. Generally, these guys are helpful. It's like it takes time. It's not a process where you spend 6 months and you're done with your networking. It's a long process, right? But you have to invest. Now, one is like, and I always say this even to all the FinTree interns, if you meet someone and you exchange LinkedIn, get connected, that is not done, right? Because you have to nurture that relationship. So over a period of time, you have to invest in that, get in touch with these guys, maybe it's a concept called mind share, right? These guys need to think of you, and that will only happen if you show some sort of a persistence. I've seen a lot of conference where people exchange visiting cards, and that's that, it ends there. So once you've done initial introduction, you need to go and write them an email saying, what was the insightful you found in the meeting, and then keep in touch, invest into that relationship for a bit.
One more question is it good to do Masters in Finance from Australia?
Is it good to do Masters in Finance from Australia? I don't know. I don't have a lot of insight on Australian market. Most of my students who've gone to Australia, they've gone to study accounting. So I don't know how much of demand exists in Australia for Indian candidates in finance domain. I have a few examples. If I were you, I would probably look at studying in the US. In general, if you want to study outside India, that's my preferred destination. The colleges is great in the US. The learning quality is fantastic. It could be a little expensive, but if you go to a good place, you also get jobs. So if I were you, I'd probably reconsider Australia, look at US as a market. But with a disclaimer, I don't understand Australia as a market very well. Okay.
Okay, one more question is I was not very serious with life until I turned 23 and completed CA by 29. I want to get into finance and pursue long awaited CFA. Any suggestion, please?
सीए तो बन गया, अब क्या नाम है इनका?
Uh,
Okay, so someone says I was not very serious with life, and now I've become a
CA.
CA at the age of 29. Not bad. See, generally this thing happens to a lot of people, right? It happened to so I'll tell you, I became CA when I was 23. There were a lot of people in my batch. For example, a good friend of mine, he was that time around 30, which means he took 7 years more. 7 years more in CA means taking about 14 attempts more, right? 14 exams. So even that time, this friend of mine, he used to have this lot of, that thing that all my friends are ahead of me. People have purchased houses, they've bought cars. But today this gentleman runs a very large automobile rental company in Dubai. Drives a fancy car, lives in a fancy house, is doing good, right? So historically our careers, like you look at our parents, their career used to be growth was a function of time. So you work for more number of years, the more growth you get. It used to be very linear. It's not the case anymore, right? Today, you just need like 3-4 great years in your career to completely elevate yourself and get that exponential growth. So if you're 29, you've managed to become CA, that's great. Do two things. First, start working. Don't sit at home full time, study anything. You need to get experience. Second, choose a domain and then build deep expertise into that domain, right? It could be something as simple as, let's say, ESOPs. But then you be a champion in ESOPs. You need to know everything about ESOPs, right? From valuation to taxation to legal part of it. So pick one domain and build expertise into it. That's your recipe for success in this career. I'll take some on YouTube now. Okay, Radha Ranik Sevak. How much of FRM 1 covers till what level of CFA? Can we attend both simultaneously if time permits? Yeah, you can. I'll give you a sense of how the syllabus is structured. I think a very smart thing to do is to do CFA level 1 and level 2 and then maybe consider FRM part 1. FRM part 1 has 4 subjects. First is called Foundations of Risk Management, which is all theory. I don't think that's directly linked to CFA per se. Second subject is Quant. About 70 to 80% of the Quant syllabus is covered in CFA level 1 and level 2 Quant. Right? So as far as the Quant is concerned, there's a big overlapping. Third subject is called Financial Markets Product, FMP. Even third subject is covered in the CFA level 1 and level 2 curriculum. For example, we have coverage on options, swaps, all of that. And fourth subject is called valuation and risk modeling. Even fourth subject to a large extent is covered in CFA level 1 and 2. So very smart strategy if you want to do both, though you should question ki sahi mein zarurat hai kya to do both. But a very smart strategy is L1, L2, then maybe you can squeeze in FRM part 1 and then you can consider writing L3 and then maybe FRM part 2. FRM part 2, by the way, does not have a lot of overlapping content with CFA. Part 2 is a completely different exam. It is more on liquidity risk, operational risk, credit risk. So if you're very keen on banking, risk management side, FRM is a fantastic program. Okay, I'll take one more from here, then we'll switch to Instagram. Akshay, I'm taking Akshay Tyagi's question. I recently transitioned into finance from life sciences, data analytics. I've got a job into market operations. Shall I pursue level 1 and then MBA finance? Please suggest. Uh, Akshay, if you've transitioned to finance, I think both of them are good choices, CFA as well as MBA. You really need to decide if you need both or if you just need one of them, right? A very smart way to think about this is if you want to be on the front office investment banking side, that means you want a lot of client interaction type of jobs. I think a good MBA finance by itself is good enough. I don't think you need a CFA. But on the other hand, if you want to do a little more analytical work, let's say you want to be on middle office investment banking, build valuation models and pitch decks. If you want to be in equity research side of the things, then I think CFA will help. But in general, either of the two or maybe both directionally is a smart thing to do, Akshay. All right, I'm taking some more. Maybe we can take one from your side.
Okay. I want to know that after doing financial modeling, what should I do best in equity research?
After doing financial modeling, what should I
Do best in equity research.
So, which means they've learned financial modeling, and now their question is, I want to learn more of equity research. What do I do? I think very simple answer. What is the name? Okay, fine. Someone from Instagram.
Garg.
Garg. Okay. So Garg, the answer to your question is very simple. You've acquired basic skill. So think of it as you've learned driving, but you haven't practiced it. Plus, driving on a mountain terrain is going to be different than driving on flat roads. So you need to keep on practicing that financial modeling skill. So here's what I'll do. Pick one sector. Okay, sector that is relatively easier to model. Let's take something like retail or FMCG. Retail, I think, is a good starting point. Then take a company, take 5-6 competitors. Okay, read earning transcript of these companies for last 3-4 years. Read quarterly presentation, maybe also read annual reports. Pick one company, build a model on it. Right. So what you have is you have a sectoral expertise, and then you build models on those companies, and then keep on expanding your horizon. So once you feel reasonably comfortable with retail, then maybe take something a little more ancillary. Maybe then go on consumption side, take FMCG or take something consumer discretionary and so on, and just keep on expanding your horizon. What that will do is when you go for interviews, you can tell the employers that, hey, these are the sectors I know well, I've worked on them. Right, so that gives them that added confidence.
One more question from Veed is how to improve consistency in studies and personal research projects.
अभी आंसर किया नहीं है. How to improve consistency in studies and personal research projects. Scheduling those. Everything in life comes down to how well you plan and how well you execute. So schedule 2 to 3 hours a day. If you have a full-time job, every day in the morning get up at 6 or 5, right? And then 5 to 8 or 6 to 9, those 2 to 3 hours, decide that no matter what happens, even if it's the last day on the planet, I will finish my studies and then I will get on with life. Just do that every day, automatically results will come. Trust me, like this tunnel vision technique, I've tried this myself and I still do it, right? So you dedicate your morning time for your self development. रोज ही 2 से 3 घंटा खुद के लिए पढ़ना है. Either I want to study or I want to write, I want to create content, do any of this and just do it consistently. That's the game.
Okay, one more question is from Prashant. He's asking how to build expertise if I want to make career in SME IPO, eventually would like to start my own firm. What should be the career path?
Yeah, someone has asked question on how to build a career on SME IPOs. So देखो अभी these days SME IPOs become a thing because we've been having like large number of SME IPOs in the country. I don't know if you know this, but the SEBI does not regulate those SME IPOs, right? The regulation comes at the exchange level. Personally, I would not be very inclined to look at SME IPO as a career by itself. I think it has a very cyclical component. It's a matter of time before some very strict regulations come around them, right? Because what's happening right now in the market, I don't think that can keep on happening. I've seen some very weird companies getting themselves listed. Like even some of the coaching classes I've seen from Ahmedabad with almost non-existent revenue getting themselves listed. So be very careful for that as a domain. It's attractive in the short run, but I don't think in the long run it makes a lot of sense. But if you have to take that path, work with someone for a few years. There are many across the cities. There are boutique investment banks even in cities like Jaipur, down in the south, Chennai, which focus on SME IPOs. So you find those firms, work with some of them, and then try to build your skills from there. I'll take some questions here now. Okay. Wow, there are a lot of questions. Which one should I take? Alright, Sagar. I've completed videos for CFA level 1 appearing for November 24. What's the strategy now for revision and mocks? Not well prepared in first time videos, will revise now properly also. Okay, Sagar, you're in a good shape. If you're writing exams in November 24 and your videos are completed, I think you're comfortable. What I would do if I were you is I would do one more round of revision. If you have access to crash course, that will make your life very easy. So go through the crash course first, then start practicing learning ecosystem. That's a very useful resource on the CFA side. I recommend practicing learning ecosystem twice. Once you do subject wise, I call that as vertical. So take economics, solve all of economics and so on. Once you do horizontal, which is 10 questions of economics and then 10 questions of FRM and then 10 questions of economics and so on. Just keep on building it like that. I've recently discovered that there is something called as a death game on the CFA portal. You guys can confirm if that's true. In the CFA learning ecosystem, they have this thing called death game, which randomly generates questions. Do them. I think that's what horizontal revision is, where you keep on switching your subjects, but you're in a good shape, Sagar. All right, let me take some more here. How much time we have? So, okay, we'll do another 10 minutes, then maybe next Saturday I can take the rest of the questions. Anita is asking, doing all the questions from candidate resources and mocks are enough for passing L2? Yes. I think that's a good set to start with. If you have something more, sure, go ahead and practice, especially FinTree's weekly test. We have a different format for weekly tests, but we cover very granular curriculum sentence level questions. But even if you don't have them, you just have candidate resources and you have mocks. I think that's a good enough practice, Anita. All right, market analysis. Sir, is CFP after CFA a good option to get into financial services or distribution for that matter? Zaroot hi nahi hai. So I've unfortunately, I've managed to do both CFP as well as CFA. I did CFP in the old regime, where I think you had to write only one exam called challenge status or something. In terms of the depth of the curriculum, I think I would rate CFP quite below CFA because the orientation is different. CFP is much more private wealth oriented course. If you're a CFA charter holder, I don't think you need a CFP. It's like आपने PhD कर लिया है फिर आप graduation में वापस sign up कर रहे हो. I don't think that would really be necessary. If you're a CFA, you're good enough to practice in private wealth. You just need to look at the SEBI regulatory requirement, right? You'll have to get that MFD license. Otherwise, you're okay to practice. Okay, Samruddhi. I have registered for August 25 batch, being a full-time student, BCom honors. How do I manage level 1 prep? How to score above 90th percentile in first go? Can I share a rough daily schedule? Samruddhi, you're a full-time student, so you have college studies. Your schedule is simple. You need to sleep for 7-8 hours, like whatever your preference is. Couple of hours for yourself, your fitness and everything else. The rest of the time you're studying, right? If you're a student into CFA program, you're allocating 2-3 years of your life for building that base that's going to come in handy for rest of your life. So आपको पूरे दिन भर ही पढ़ाई करना है. You don't want to do anything else. सुबह उठो, पढ़ाई पे लग जाओ, if required, go to college. Like some cases, I think college BCom is anyways useless. I don't know what honor do you get after BCom. Like to me, BCom honors looks like a scam. So just go to college, finish your BCom, whatever you need to finish, and then get back to CFA studies. 12-15 घंटे पढ़ाई में लगाओ आप. That should be the plan. That's what I would do if I were at your place. And see, it's a unique opportunity for you because being able to spend that kind of a time on one subject is going to give you a tremendous competitive edge. For example, if you're studying, let's say, P ratio, maybe in the CFA curriculum, right? Something as simple as P ratio and let's say maybe PEG ratio. Why not like go on the internet and look at P ratio of 50 different companies, calculate PEG ratio of 50 companies. So whatever you learn in the curriculum, you have an opportunity to apply that in practice, right? That's the beauty of CFA level 1 curriculum. So all your time studies and nothing else. That should be the plan. All right, Samudra here. I see you online that people say for investment banking, CFA is not that useful. To the extent saying it is a waste of time. What is your opinion? I kind of agree, Samudra. If your game is that I want to work in front office investment banking with a large player, right? So large player means, let's say, the likes of top tier international banks or big Indian banks like Barclays and Citi and all of that. I don't think CFA gets you into front office IB. A typical profile of candidates I've come across in front office IB is IIMs, and a lot of times IIT plus IIMs, or you're from one of those Ivy leagues. So investment banking front office, is a fancy way, but think about it, ye dalali ka dhanda hota hai, right? Like what is investment banking? Think about it. If you go to the core of it, how we have brokers in real estate, and don't feel offended for all the investment bankers who are here today. जो broker होते हैं, they help buyer and seller meet and then they charge a commission. I mean, investment banking to a large extent is like that. You're convincing, depending on whether you're representing buy side or sell side, you're just helping them get through a transaction and charging a fees. So your interpersonal skills are extremely important here, and CFA doesn't teach you that by the very nature of the program, and that's why recruiters prefer IIM. Having said that, there is also a trend that's happening, and we see that because we work very actively on placements here. A lot of boutique investment banks now have been recruiting CFA candidates, right? Typically for a lot of middle office work, running pitch decks and valuation. So I wouldn't say that doing CFA will close the doors. Some of the doors will still be open, but if that's the ultimate goal and you're 100% sure, I think MBA is the way out. Hopefully that helps, Samudra. Okay. Is it possible to cover the whole syllabus of level 2, November 24, including FinTree video lectures if I start from 1st August? Baapre. 1st August, Atul, syllabus of most of my classroom cohort will be over, and we will jump on to a different drill that we have for the final 2 months on mocks and crash course. So I really doubt, I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible. I've seen people in the past doing it, but I really doubt how easy or comfortable it will be to finish in 2 months. Level 2 FinTree videos, the total content size is in the ballpark range of 200 hours. So if you are investing 10 hours a day, ab 20 घंटे में level 2 videos खत्म कर सकते हो. You can finish level 2 videos in 20 days. But yeah, how confident you would be on the exam, I'm not sure, because you will not get enough time to practice. Plus, you'll end up studying for the exams, not learning the subject, right? Which I really hate. We don't want to have CFA charter holders out in the market who've somehow managed to pass the exam but don't know their subject well. So if I were you, I'd probably think of moving myself to 2025 cycle. Okay, do you have any questions? We'll take last 2 questions, then we'll wrap it up. One from Instagram and one I'll take here.
This question is from Soumya. He's asking, working as FPA and cleared level 1, appearing for level 2 in May. After applying for core equity jobs, I do not get to reach to interview level. All offers from FPA.
So देखो ये जो the question that's being asked is I'm working in FP&A and I've passed level 1. I want to move to equity research. I recently came across this situation. It's very simple. Like, think about it this way, right? In general, CFA program or not, like whatever program you do, making lateral or horizontal moves across your career is extremely tough. Means once you work, and here's a simple case, right? So let's say you worked in FPA for a couple of years. So FPA generally pays decent. So my guess is you're about 6 to 10 lakh range. Now you go to equity research, you're a fresher, right? You have no experience of equity research whatsoever. Your FP&A skills are not transferable. So the problem is, if I'm recruiting a fresher, I can get other freshers at 4 or 5 lakhs. Even if you agree to come at that price, my question would be why, right? I would always judge your motivations and incentive. So the moves are going to become difficult. But it's not the end of the road. It's doable. What you need to do is increase your sample size. I have a very simple formula. When you're making lateral moves, the probability of getting selection or getting a call is lower, right? So let's keep, if for other candidates, if they apply to 10 places, they get 2 calls, 20%. You might get only 5% conversion. So the solution is to increase your N. At the end of the day, it's an N into P formula for the number of calls you get. So if you apply to 500, 600, 800 places, आपको 10 कॉल 5 कॉल तो आएंगे, उसमें से एक कन्वर्ट करना है. So keep on applying to as many places as you can. The difficulty is going to be with the first job. Once you get your first break, after that career is going to be smooth. I'll take one question here and then we'll call it. I would be coming online again on next Saturday, same time. I plan to do this the whole year. So whatever questions I couldn't answer this time around, please come next Saturday. We'll try and do it then. Okay, I'm taking the last question for the day. Okay, Bania Investor. Bania Investor is saying, I have my level 1 exam on 21st of August. My quant is still remaining. Should I consider to defer, or do you think it can pull off with revision and practice along with different subjects? That's a tough one, Bania Investor. I don't know. See, quant at level 1 is quite big. So initially the first 3-4 chapters are easy, up to maybe probability, but starting from hypothesis testing and then you have regression, that takes a little bit of time. It's not impossible to do it. I'm assuming you are a FinTree candidate, so you'll have access to the juice notes and crash course. I recently recorded a new crash course for quant, and we also rebuilt the juice notes from scratch, right? We've put in a lot more practical questions on that. So my recommendation is my quant crash course videos should be about 20 to 22 hours, just the crash course videos. So you watch them, you read through the juice notes. 20 to 22 hours is 2 days of investment, so it's doable. It's not impossible. You'll have to push yourself a little bit, but don't give up. Just keep on fighting. You should be able to get through. All right. That's it from my side. Thank you very much. I could not answer all the questions today, but I think in one session is going to be tough. I will be coming back online on next Saturday, same time, and I plan to do this the whole year consistently. So we have a line of communication between you and me. Thank you very much. I appreciate all of you for coming here today, and I'll see you all the next Saturday. Thank you.
So